Hi everyone, Dr. Beardfasay here with Rhyme Signatures, the nerdiest music review this side of losing the nickname if you'd only shave the damn thing off. And today we're going to be doing a review of the new Versa album, A Voyage, A Destination. I've previously mentioned on this channel just how much I love a surprise. It's always fun to have a band that you're intimately familiar with come out with some stellar new material, of course. You've got the comfort of the familiar, the reassurance and knowledge of what to expect, and it's honestly a great feeling when your favourite band just, knocks it out of the park once again. But I'm a sucker for the unknown. The band that's virtually unheard of, or been absent for so long that their name has all but faded from common parlance, which is kind of exactly what we seem to have here with this new release from Canadian post-rock outfit Versa. I can praise be to the gods of algorithmic recommendation for this one, and for their boon I am truly grateful. I was intrigued by the album art, of course, which is gorgeous, but the 4-track structure, bookended by a minor 15-minute epic and a 27-minute big boy one, is what really sparked my interest properly. As a sucker for this kind of long-form musical expression, I just couldn't help myself. I had to give this a go. But then I saw 2 names in the vocal credits, and I knew I had to listen to this. Eric Gillette and Jim Gray. One of whom I knew from his contributions to the Neil Morse Band, and the other with Caligula's Horse and Arcane. Both of whom are, honestly, absolute favourites of mine, really. And it started to feel more and more like this record was kind of tailor-made to attract my attention. Because it worked. This is a stunningly beautiful album. And it's hard to really put into words just how big of an impact this has had on me. Sitting at a comfortable 53.5 minutes in length, it's honestly kind of perfect for repeated listens, because it doesn't feel like it's a mountainous slog to get through. The record is spectacularly well paced, and it manages to maintain a constant level of interest, never hanging around on one particular idea or musical phrasing for too long as to get boring, nor for short enough of a time for it to feel sketchy and uncertain of itself. So, what kind of music is this? Technical death metal, post-punk, progressive funk, acid jazz? No, it's none of those, no. This is, in its most basic form, a post-rock album. If you're familiar with bands like Explosions in the Sky, Mogwai, We Lost the Sea, etc., then you'll have a pretty decent idea of what to expect here. But the addition of vocals on the first and last tracks is partly what helps it stand aside from its contemporaries, and we'll get onto that shortly. The compositions on this record and the instrumentation throughout is a constantly varied, beautifully evolving snowstorm, chasing the gamut from tremolo-picked guitars, wailing violins, huge orchestration and soundscapes, and plaintive, beautiful, emotive moods and atmospheres. This is an incredible sounding piece of music from the very first notes of the opener, Pools of the Naiads, to the closer, Voyage. Post-rock as a genre doesn't often flirt much with the idea of vocals or lyrics, generally preferring to tell its stories musically. Versa kind of bucked the trend with that a bit here, with the opening and closing tracks featuring vocals by the aforementioned wonderful Eric Gillette and Jim Gray, amongst some others, with the 2 middle tracks following a more traditional route of the expected norms. This structuring works incredibly well, as there's some truly excellent poetry on offer here, delivered masterfully by those behind the microphone, and the middle tracks manage to serve as this expertly timed palate cleanser between these epic-length songs. The first of which, Sea of Vapours, is ostensibly a violin-led song, and the latter, Lantern Season, is more of a horns one. I kind of get some distinct Disco Elysium sounds from Lantern Season, albeit with a great deal more hope to the mood and progression shown. But this album really is about its opening epic, Pool of the Naiads, and closing epic, Voyage. They serve as brilliant slices of what Versa are capable of, both managing to achieve singularly unique sounds within the scope of the album, and capturing moods that you'll want to come back to again and again and again. Pool of the Naiads starts off with this incredibly gentle, haunting piano tone, before Eric Gillette's soothing voice comes in over the top, segueing into an almost Damnation-era Opeth-style guitar section. It's a great way to kick off the album, providing just the right amount of mood and atmosphere, while setting up the huge sounds that are due to come. And boy, do they come. We rocket into the stratosphere with this massive Hammond organ sound that really grabs you, just as you might be starting to get complacent. There's some excellent guitar solos on this song, really giving off the vibe of being on a voyage, really. Things calm back down again as the song progresses, with Gillette taking the lead once more. The lyrics and, honestly, the vocal delivery as well remind me a great deal of the sort of prog classics of old, evoking vibes of Close to the Edge or Selling England by the Pound. A brief a cappella section snaps you back into focus before the band shows off their post-rock chops, working in tandem with the classic prog sounds. The fusion of the two styles works remarkably well, with neither one showboating above the other. They delicately dance and trade off against each other, keeping things flowing well, and it manages to keep the song from being anything but boring. The classic influences continue throughout, as I get kind of a distinct Mike Oldfield flavour from the song, when this fantastic children's choral section kicks in during the final third, undercut by some excellent soaring horn work that also reminds me a lot of Big Big Train. I'm name dropping quite a bit here, but make no mistake, Versa mark their own personality and identity on this album exceptionally well. The influences here are only positive, serving to highlight and accent things rather than dominate how I would define their sound. This is a very distinct sounding record, and Versa have used their influences tastefully rather than blatantly. The song crescendos with the choir underlying Eric Gillette's wonderful voice, and I can't help but get goosebumps every time, as I have such a weakness for layered vocals, and this is done particularly well. We slow down with the horns playing us out, leading into a delicately hummed melody across the choir, and I am stunned. This is how you open a record. This is how you get someone like me interested. As mentioned earlier, the two epics are interspersed by two more traditionally post-rock songs, Sea of Vapours and Lantern Season, and both of these are utterly bewitching and manage to carry off very distinct moods and feelings. Sea of Vapours is probably my favourite of the two, with its haunting, plaintive violin taking the lead, backed by delicate guitar work and chilling flutes. That's not to say anything bad about Lantern Season, of course, which brings back the brass instrumentation that made the final third of Pools of the Naiads so strong. But, I don't know, I'm just a sucker for a good violin sound. These two songs feel very important, though, as they show that Versa is more than just their attention-grabbing guest stars, and that they have an incredible ear for beautiful compositions and thoughtful songwriting. So, let's talk about the big boy in the room, the 27-minute epic. I love an epic. My favourite songs of all time are epics. Change of Seasons, Supper's Ready, Sleeping in Traffic, Other Half of the Sky, and heck, I'm feeling like I might be adding Versa's closing track off this album, Voyage, to this list pretty soon. If I was to try and describe this song as a movie, I would immediately point to the incredible masterpiece, Everything Everywhere, All at Once. The final third or so especially, I can practically hear Ke Hu Kwan saying, "So even though you've broken my heart yet again, I wanted to say in another life, I would have really liked just doing laundry and taxes with you." It's a massive, sprawling piece that grabs you by the hand and pulls you along for the ride the whole time, never letting go and making sure you experience the full gamut of emotions that it has backloaded and ready to assault you with. Songs of this length they're special to me, as they have enough time to really make sure that they do everything they need to do, with nothing feeling rushed or expedited. And this is very much the case on Voyage. The instant I hear Jim Gray, though, I just melt. I absolutely adore this man's voice. His work on Caligula's Horse is what elevates that band into the stratosphere for me, and the same is true on this song. His gentle, almost ethereal delivery fits the music here perfectly, serving as a comforting guide for the long journey this song takes you on. There's some really strong King Crimson vibes that kick in once the intro to the song concludes, reminding you that this isn't necessarily a pleasure cruise. There's some choppy waters ahead. The tension builds and builds over the course of the next few minutes, with some absolutely stellar percussive work by none other than Nick DeVirgilio himself. Damn. Discordant vocals slide in, creating a feeling of unsettlement and unease. chaos reigning supreme as the song does its very best to make the listener uncomfortable, in a good way. And just when you think you can't take it anymore, it snaps, breaks off from the rising dissonance, and segues into a more melodic but still equally sinister sound, with the King Crimson vibes returning with this aggressive violin tone that really carries the next section of the song. And finally, we're through the storm. The calm returns, and the utterly gorgeous piano tone that started the album returns, underlying a wailing, sustained guitar note before the song moves into some classic-sounding post-rock, once again giving me We Lost the Sea vibes. Now, post-rock is oftentimes known for a couple of things, really. Tremolo pick guitars and repetition. And both of these are beautifully represented in the second half of this epic. Jim Gray's vocals swell back into the mix with the aforementioned tremolo picking lying strongly underneath his outstanding voice. A staccato-picked violin plays lead fiddle here, lead fiddle, which is where I start to feel my earlier mentioned Everything Everywhere All at Once influence kicking in. Anyone who's familiar with or seen that film should understand what I'm talking about here, and without any spoilers obviously, just try and imagine this song playing over the final act payoff of that movie, and you'll probably hear what I'm talking about. And this is also where the beautiful use of repetition comes in. A strong but simple melody rises, and the song builds and layers over this over and over for the final quarter or so. It starts so simply, so basically, but just like the best songs of the genre, more and more gets added to the mix as things go on, taking its time with each new element added, all the while never taking away from the relative simplicity of what lies at the core, until you can't help but feel nearly completely overwhelmed by what you're hearing. And then finally, the true ending. The heartache-inducing piano and the twinned vocals of Jim Gray and Marjana Sankina croon out over that simple melody, and I reflect back on Voyage and the journey it's taken me on. This has been exactly that, a voyage, and one I will not soon forget. I cannot express enough to you how much you should listen to this record, how much this one shouldn't pass you by, and just how much talent Versa have for crafting something this poignant and beautiful. So, what else can I say about A Voyage, A Destination? This really is one of the best surprises I've had all year. And a year that's already had quite a few of those thrown my way. This is a gorgeous, superlative experience that will really take you places if you let it. It's an engaging, haunting, and utterly moving album that deserves to be heard by as many ears as possible. If you get one recommendation out of me this year, just one, and eschew all other reviews that I've done, I would heartily recommend checking this one out. And I really, genuinely hope it moves you as much as it's moved me. This is all, of course, my own opinion, as you know, so tell me what you thought of this record in the comments below. If you've anything else you've listened to this year you think I should check out, that I might enjoy, let me know about it. I might get around to giving it my own thoughts. If you like this video, please do share it with anyone who you think might enjoy it. Give it a thumbs up and a like, yeah. Consider subscribing for some more content. I'm not going to ask you to ring the bell because I don't want to do the full trifecta of YouTube signing off nonsense, you know, whatever. Appreciate everyone who watches these though, and until next time guys, keep your rhyme signatures odd.